Alright, so today we are looking at Unit 9, Lesson 1, solving quadratic linear systems. And so we've looked at solving systems before. We did it by graphing, we did it by substitution, but the difference then, we were looking at just a system of two linear equations. So today we're going to look at a system where we have one quadratic and one linear equation, and we want to solve that. So we're looking at where do these two lines cross each other. And so we're just going to look at the basics today. We'll worry about the other stuff in Lesson 2. So just the basics for today. We're just solving. Just the basics. And so we're going to jump right in and look at a couple examples. So I have y equals x squared minus 9x plus 18. And I have y equals 4x minus 12. And I want to solve the system. And so if you notice, they're both set equal to y, so that means that they equal the same thing. So they are equal to each other. So I can easily just set them equal to each other. So I get that x squared minus 9x plus 18 is equal to 4x minus 12. And now this is just a funky looking quadratic, and we're used to solving quadratics, and we have a couple of different ways that we can. But first and foremost, to be able to solve this, I have to have all my stuff on one side, right? I need 0 on this side. So I'm going to subtract 4x, and I will add 12 and add 12. And so my x squared comes down, minus 13x plus 30 equals, and now 0. One way that we've learned to solve these quadratics is by factoring. And so I don't have a number in front of x squared, so I'm just looking at the factors of 30. My middle number is negative, so I know my factors of 30 have to be negative as well. So I could have negative 1 and negative 30. I could have negative 2 and negative 15. I could have negative 3 and negative 10. Or I could have negative 5 and negative 6. And if I keep going, I'm just going to end up repeating my factors. So those are all of my factor pairs. And we're looking for the set that adds together to give me negative 13. And so that happens to be negative 3 and negative 10. And so I end up with x minus 3, x minus 10 equals 0. So I get x minus 3 equals 0, x minus 10 equals 0, so x equals positive 3, and x equals positive 10. And so remember that the solutions to a system, these are the x values, but I need the y values. Because remember, the solutions to a system are where the two lines intersect each other. So I know it intersects when x is 3, but what is my y value? So I'm going to take the easier of the two, and I'm going to plug in 3, and I'm going to plug in 10, and see what my values are. So when I plug in 3, I get y equals 4 times 3 minus 12, which gives me 12 minus 12, which gives me 0. So I know I have a solution of 3, 0. And then I'll also plug in 10. So I get y equals 4 times 10 minus 12. And so I get 40 minus 12. So I get y equals 28. So I have a solution of 10, 28. So my two solutions are 3, 0 and 10, 28. Alright, so let's look at another one. So same exact thing. I'm going to have one quadratic, y equals x squared minus 3x minus 6, and one linear, so y equals negative 7x plus 6, and the same task, I want to solve the system. So I have the same situation as well. They're both set equal to y, so that means that they equal each other. So I'll go ahead and first set them equal to each other. X squared minus 3x minus 6 equals negative 7x plus 6. And I need to get all this stuff onto the other side so that I have 0 on this side. So I'm going to add 7x to both sides. And notice that I am just putting it right under the other x so I can combine my like terms. And I will subtract subtract 6 from both sides. And my x squared just comes straight down. Negative 3x plus 7x gives me positive 4x. And negative 6 minus 6 gives me negative 12. Bring down my equal sign, very important. These things just cancel out, so I get 0. And now again, just factoring. We knew how to factor, so the number in front of x squared is just 1, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just looking at my factors of negative 12. And I want the factors that add together to give me positive 4. And if you really think about it, if I have a positive 6 and a negative 2, 6 times negative 2 gives me negative 12, and 6 minus 2 gives me a positive 4. So my factors are x plus 6 and x minus 2 equals 0. And I can set these equal to 0, and I end up with x equals negative 6. And x equals positive 2. And if you need a refresher, you can go back, I believe it's Unit 8. Unit 8, yeah. Lesson 2A and 2B is factoring, if you need a little refresher of how to do that, because I know I just kind of breezed through that. But so now I have the x values, and I need to plug it in and see what my y values are to get my actual solutions. So I'll plug in negative 6 first. I get y equals negative 7 times negative 6 plus 6, which is equal to 42 plus 6, so I get 48. So one of my solutions is negative 6 comma 48. And then the other, I'll plug in 2, so I get y equals negative 7 times 2 plus 6, which is negative 14 plus 6, which is negative 8. So my second solution is 2 comma negative 8. And there we go. Those are my two solutions. Okay, so now I want you to try. So your practice problems that need to be done in your notes neatly so that you can go back and refer to them, and so that I can check them when I see you again. If you need to pause it or whatever to write these down, but these do need to be in your notes for Unit 9, Lesson 1. Okay, thanks guys, have a good day. Bye.